today, for the project, we're going to talk about sculpting a shoe using pretty much the slab method. Do you have something going to make a shoe out of clay? Of course, the shoe I have over here is not the same shoe as here. In the video though, this is the shoe I make. A couple things let you know. You're going to build your shoe, you make a paper template, a very loose rendition, basic shape of your shoe out of paper, and I'll give you the piece of paper for that. So you have basically a template to follow, like you kind of built when you build a box. Instead of you doing like same size everything, you're gonna build a basic shoe. You're gonna take your clay, roll, take your paper, measure out the bottom of your shoe, start from there, build up your sides, stuff like that. And I will help guide you along with that with some material that's in this handout that's part of this video. We also have here the shoe, you're gonna build it and make it. Do not forget the bottom of your shoe as well. And to create it is what you're gonna go through building the whole process. So you get the whole idea of how to make it and do all that. So, shoelaces, think about textures, start looking for textures around your house, things you can press into the clay as well. That's also very important when building the shoe and coming up with those ideas and everything else. So that's kind of what we're gonna be working on. I'm also gonna include in the whole presentation, I'll put a link in the video when I put this. There's a good another art friend of mine shows me a different way of building shoes. He doesn't use a template, he uses a rough form and kind of shapes it. Some kids might like that style as well, so I'll include his video as well in my presentation in the whole Spark page I make. But for this video, it'll be there, and if you find my video and you're not in my class, you want to build a shoe, I'll put a link to a shoe too, like he did, if you don't like my video. So there's tons of ways of doing it out there. So, without further ado, get your shoe, let's make it out of clay. So let's get started. As we can see before here, I have a rough paper template that I've made, signed out, taped together to make sure it kind of looks like my shoe. Now I'm going to take the tape apart and get it set up, ready to go to roll out the slabs with. I have my whole entire piece laid out. This becomes my template like you would a box that you can put together and build to make your shoe. Once I have my template all taken apart, I'm going to roll out a slab of clay. Use the 1/4-inch sticks or the other ones in my room, or thickness of a ruler, or you can use a slab roller. Set that also for, in my room, about 1/2 centimeter. Once I have the slab rolled out, I'm going to cut out all my pieces, get them prepped, ready to go to join together to make my shoe. Remember, this is just the basic shape, not extremely detailed, just the basic shape of what I'm trying to make here. Once I have all my pieces cut out, it's beginning to assemble. So I'm going to score and slip my seams. I'm going to join them together. I can use some vinegar. I can use, as I'm doing in the video, I can use slip. I can get some water and kind of just make sure everything's scored really well and everything's kind of joined together. I'm adding small coils into the seams, kind of blending it, making sure everything is really well blended together, getting the basic rough outside shape of my shoe. Not worried about details right now. Just getting the basic shape of my shoe. Once I have the shoe assembled, I'm going to use a paddle for some general shaping of the shoe.
cut out certain parts I don't need, begin to really get the basic shape still. Again, not worried about details, getting the basic shape, using a paddle on it, getting it defined exactly how I want it to be. Adding some more clay if I need to, really looking at my shoe as an idea to create the piece I need to make. Once I have all the pieces put together, I'm going to begin to blend and smooth all the seams using various wooden tools, ribs, whatever, to get my shoe ready to go for the next step. Once I have everything smooth, I'm now going to add the tongue to the piece. Again, I roll out a slab of clay, getting it ready to go. Use my template of the tongue, trace it out, make sure everything's nice and smooth, ready to go, trace it out, cut it out, and add it to my shoe. Now the tongue is cut out, it's time to add it. Score and slip it in there. I'm grabbing some newspaper here to kind of help with the project a little bit so I can kind of join it together so it helps just support so it doesn't fall out. Score and slip, shove the newspaper in there to kind of brace it to help hold it in place. Here's what I'm doing there. Again, going over the piece a little bit with a damp sponge, kind of smoothing out any of the seams, imperfections, marking some lines, adding some details, getting that top of the shoe a little bit rounder so it kind of matches more the shape of what I have. Once I have the tongue attached and the way I like it to look, I'm now rolling out some more slabs to begin to add some more details to the shoe itself. I'm now looking at the sides of the shoe, giving it more depth that way, so I've cut some strips out to get a score and slip and join around the piece. So either use vinegar, slip, water, whatever I can put on there to kind of blend it and kind of begin to add those details around the shoe itself. Once I have the strip around there, I'm going back adding some details, using my rubber tool there to kind of add some lines into it to mimic what's around the shoe. Also adding these lines on there helps press that slab of clay I added on there, make sure it's joined on there really well. And I'm just going back in using that rubber scraper, kind of blend and smooth, add some texture to those slabs that are on there. I'm also going back in, looking at different details of the shoe, begin to mark them out, kind of see what's going on there. Kind of defining a little more of the shape, the features, getting to stand out. I don't have to add clay on there. I can actually go back in, do some carving, removing some of that extra clay if I want to. Using the side of my paddle to kind of press in those lines even more, make sure those seams are really well blended so it does not come off. And like I said, just now I'm working on details, kind of going to mark certain features and ideas that are part of the shoe. This is a part of shoe that will take some time, really the details. It's really looking at what you're making, what you're creating, and really just honing in those details, getting them firmly on there. Taking the time, matching up your model of your shoe, and beginning to build your piece itself. It's very important. You outline all the details that are part of that shoe and slowly begin to bring them to life and make your shoe look like your shoe you have in front of you. Here I'm looking at how many holes go for the shoelaces, so I'm marking them out. I'm going to add them on there, working on some more fine details at the top of the shoe before I begin to add my shoestrings, my shoelaces I mean, on there, really kind of blending, shaping, smoothing, getting everything ready to go that goes along with my shoe, but kind of just adding more details, fine-tuning it, making it stand out more. Again, this is where it takes the work and the time. Once you get the shape out, it's just all about the details. One thing I'm adding to my piece are the little stitches using a small wooden stick or a little wooden carving tool to kind of add those little stitches, putting them in there piece by piece. So it has a defined line where it's a quick little way to make some extra texture they may not even know about. Now it's time for me to add my shoelaces. So I'm taking a slab of clay I've already made, adding texture to it. I have texture rollers, texture things you can add to it. Totally up to you. Find textures at home as well. Once I have the slabs rolled out, I'm going to cut out pieces. I'm not going to make one continuous long piece of clay to make my shoelaces. I'm going to use pieces to put them together. So first thing to do is cut out a bunch of pieces with texture added onto them. Try to make it a little bit thinner than a 1/4 inch because the shoelace is a little bit thinner. You might have to roll out your clays with coils. My shoe itself, the shoelaces are flat. You might have to make round ones. Look at your shoe to get the idea across. Now, once I have my shoelaces made, I'm going to add them to my shoe itself. I'm going to score and slip them, blend them into the pieces, make them stand out, make it defined, make it look visually stimulating to look at, make an illusion of it looking like the shoe itself. I look how my shoe is made, how it's folded, go layer by layer, piece by piece to make it look like the shoe itself. Again, this takes time and persistence. I'm also going back in, adding some more texture to it once I have the piece scored and slipped in there. Use the back of a popsicle stick. You can use anything to kind of make it enhance your piece, make that texture stand out even more. Again, to join the pieces, I'm using vinegar, water. I don't want to use slip on this. It gets kind of messy. This helps kind of join the piece together a little bit more. There's nothing wrong with going back in there, blending out with some water or even a little vinegar, kind of help define what you're doing. Give the illusion like it's one continuous piece is what we're doing here. As we can see here on the shoe, we're close to being done. I can make it into a bow. I can have the strings coming down. You kind of play off that idea of how you want your shoe to look, how you want it to finish off. I leave that up to you. The last crucial part of the shoe is the bottom. What kind of shape do you have on the bottom of it? You might have to add clay on, you might have to carve away. Remember, a sculpture in the round is a piece that's complete all the way around, and the shoe needs to be finished on the bottom. So come back in there, carve out certain parts of the detail, finish off your shoe, get it ready to go. Once you have that on there, your shoe is done, ready to be fired, and then painted afterwards.